is this morning's New York Times, and on the front page, there's the story: packed trains create cascade of peak delays. The nation's most crowded subway line is jammed every morning. Well, $700 million. That's how much New York's Mayor Bill de Blasio is hoping to raise from millionaires to fix the city's subway system. New York, as this paper makes clear, is currently in the middle of a summer of hell. There are signal problems, overcapacity, and frequent breakdowns that make the daily commute simply a nightmare. The delays have affected low-wage workers the most. So let's put this into perspective. Firstly, on the question of a millionaire's tax, is it going to work? And secondly, why is the subway in such an appalling condition? Scott Springer is the New York City Comptroller. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
Is the mayor's millionaire's tax ever going to happen?
Well, here's the problem. We are having a summer from hell. The subway system in New York City is on the verge of collapse. So when the mayor proposes a millionaire's tax, it's one of several interesting long-term ideas that we should explore. The problem now is that we can't wait for the legislature and the governor to decide whether to support that. We have a $800 million emergency repair plan that needs money now.
Where's that money going to come from?
Well, it has to come from a number of places. First, Governor Cuomo has said he will fund half of the $850 million. And I've said, as city controller, the chief fiscal watchdog, that the city should also make an expenditure so that we can repair the tracks, we can fix the signals, and we can get our system moving again.
A couple of months ago, I was reading some articles in the Times which compared New York and London, which I know particularly well, I'm sure you do too. The London Tube, a huge amount has been spent over the public-private partnership, and the thing is working remarkably well on a network that is almost as overcrowded as New York's.
London, Tokyo, Seoul, you name it. Every big city recognizes that the more you invest in mass transit, the better the economy. We in New York City stopped investing in the subway system.
Why? Because it's not like it's the 70s when it's all graffiti. I mean, go back to the 90s and the noughties. In the good years, why wasn't the city investing?
Because I think complacency set in. It was easy to stop investing and put money in other places. We made a terrible mistake 20 years ago by stopping this investment. But look, we have a crisis and we have to invest. So that is what the fight is about now. I think the city and the state should get together. The mayor has some good ideas. The governor has good ideas. Obviously, there's a lot of politics at play. But look, I watch the money in the bottom line. We have to invest, invest, invest if we're going to continue to grow the greatest economy in the world.
And you've got the money to make your contribution to this.
The city can't afford to make a payment. The state must make a payment. But look, it's not a blank check. The MTA is a black hole. We've seen money disappear there with no accountability, no transparency.
Well, let's talk about the MTA with its new boss. It's a vast organization, isn't it?
Well, it's a vast organization that has also been rife with disorganization. So Chairman Loader, he's put together a smart short-term plan. We need to think about a long-term investment plan in mass transit. But here's the deal. If the mayor were to give money to the bailout plan, it has to be tied to transparency. I believe that there should be a memo of understanding that says, look, here's our contribution. These are the projects we want done, and that's how we move forward.
It's fortunate tonight that we're able to get into this in some more detail, because what I understand you to say, look, I have to say my commute here and down to the stock exchange is really quite straightforward. And as long as it goes well, it goes well. But if it goes wrong, it's hell on wheels.
Look,
so how do you put together a crisis plan at the same time put in place an infrastructure plan that you and I know will take 5, 10, 15 years to come to full fruition?
Well, we know we can do it because we've done it before. When the subway system was on the verge of collapse, we had a long-term capital plan that eventually worked. We have to go back to the drawing board and do that again. But we have to invest the money now because we can't wait. So the LOTA plan, right, is a short-term plan. We need better tracks, we need new subway cars, we need signals. Put that in play now. Long-term, we have to really revisit how we're going to have a structural funding stream for the MTA.
This is fascinating, because what you're really saying is we need to go back to some form of vision of Victorian infrastructure building that leaves something for future generations. If you look back at this city and indeed the bridges, the tunnels, same in London, it was all spent a long time ago.
Look, no politician wants to invest in infrastructure.
Yeah.
But,
except the Czech president.
But, well, he doesn't either. He pretends he does. But visionary elected officials know that infrastructure is something you think about and you look back and say, I'm glad we did that because now, 10 years later, we made a difference. And every big city in America, every big city around the world is now investing in mass transit. We should lead the nation.